In 1961, just before his death, Carl Jung made a startling prediction that has been largely overlooked by mainstream psychology. Jung wrote that, in astrological tradition, the transition of the vernal equinox into the zodiacal sign of Aquarius, taking place toward the end of the 20th century, will coincide with a new advance in human development. What he foresaw was not merely technological progress, but a fundamental transformation in the very structure of human consciousness itself. Today, as we stand in 2025, we witness exactly what Jung predicted. The human mind is undergoing its most radical evolution since the dawn of language. Where once we stored entire epics in memory, today many cannot hold attention for longer than 8 seconds. We've stopped reading books and switched to short videos. We trust artificial intelligence to solve problems that once required deep thinking. But Jung understood this wasn't degradation, it was metamorphosis. The Swiss psychiatrist believed we were approaching what he called the Aquarian Age, a period of collective awakening where humanity would transcend individual consciousness and merge into something far greater. His lost prophecy suggests that the externalization of human memory and intelligence isn't a loss of our faculties, but preparation for a new form of existence. Part 1. The collective unconscious awakens. Jung's most revolutionary insight was the concept of the collective unconscious, a vast reservoir of shared experiences, symbols, and archetypes that transcends our personal lives and taps into a universal consciousness that binds us all. Unlike Freud's personal unconscious, Jung believed this deeper layer was shared by all humanity, containing the inherited wisdom of our species. In ancient times, this collective wisdom was accessed through rituals, myths, and oral traditions. Shamans and storytellers served as living bridges to the archetypal realm. But Jung predicted that in the Aquarian Age, this connection would become direct and technological. Consider how this prophecy is manifesting today. When we externalize our memory to smartphones and search engines, we're not just storing information, we're creating a technological nervous system for the collective unconscious. The internet has become what Jung called the new sphere, a global brain where humanity's shared knowledge and experiences merge into a single, evolving intelligence. Marshall McLuhan, influenced by Jung's ideas, described this as the global village. He saw technologies as extensions of human capabilities. Any extension of the senses changes the way we think and act, the way we perceive the world. But Jung went deeper. He understood that these extensions were preparing us for a fundamental shift in consciousness itself. The evolution of our relationship with information follows Jung's predicted pattern: primitive era, shamanic consciousness, direct access to archetypal wisdom through altered states and ritual, classical antiquity, oral transmission of knowledge, complex mnemonic techniques, almost photographic memory in trained individuals accessing collective wisdom through myth and story, medieval times, writing, books, libraries as external repositories of sacred knowledge, but still connected to the transcendent through religious experience, industrial age, mass printing, newspapers, radio, television, exponential growth of available information, but increasing disconnection from archetypal wisdom, digital revolution, internet, smartphones, instant access to virtually infinite data, the beginning of technological merger with collective consciousness, the Aquarian shift, 2025, 2, AI integration, collective intelligence networks, direct technological interface with the collective unconscious. Jung observed that we live in the age of the decline of Christianity when the metaphysical premises of morality are collapsing. That's why the young are experimenting like young dogs. They want to live experimentally with no historical premises. That causes reactions in the unconscious, restlessness and longing for the fulfillment of the times. This restlessness and longing is precisely what we observe today. The average attention span has decreased from 12 seconds in 2000 to 8 seconds today. But Jung would argue this isn't mental degradation. It's the mind preparing for a different mode of operation, one that processes vast amounts of information simultaneously rather than sequentially. Part 2. Individuation in the Age of Artificial Intelligence. Jung's concept of individuation, the process by which a person integrates the conscious and unconscious parts of the mind to achieve psychological wholeness, takes on profound new meaning in our technological age. Jung's theories focus on the individual experience in relation to a larger collective unconscious shared by humanity. Individuation is the journey of discovering a person's true identity, and in order to do so, one must be aware of their relationship to both personal and collective unconscious contents. But Jung predicted that in the Aquarian age, individuation would not be an individual process. It would become collective. Humanity itself would need to individuate as a species, integrating its technological shadow with its spiritual essence. The externalization of cognitive functions that we observe today, calculators handling mathematics, GPS managing navigation, search engines storing facts, and AI generating creative content, represents what Jung would have recognized as a species-wide projection of mental contents. We are literally externalizing parts of our psyche into technological forms. Andy Clark and David Chalmers' concept of the extended mind echoes Jung's deeper insight. Cognitive processes are not limited by the boundaries of the skull. When we use tools to solve problems, they become part of our extended cognitive system. But Jung understood that this extension was not random. It follows the archetypal patterns embedded in the collective unconscious. Consider the archetypal significance of our technological developments. The oracle, search engines, the ancient human need to access omniscient wisdom, now manifested as Google and AI assistants. The scribe, digital storage, the archetypal function of preserving and transmitting knowledge, externalized into cloud storage and databases. The navigator, GPS, the timeless role of the guide who knows all paths, now embedded in our devices. The creator, AI art and writing. The divine function of bringing new realities into existence, increasingly delegated to artificial intelligence. Nicholas Carr's concern in The Shallows that we're developing impulsive, superficial thinking at the expense of reflective and deep thinking misses Jung's deeper insight. We're not losing our capacity for deep thought, we're redistributing it. The collective is becoming capable of depths no individual mind could achieve alone. Neuroscientist Marianne Wolf's discovery that with the transition to digital reading, we are losing the ability for deep reading reflects a necessary sacrifice. As Jung predicted, we must surrender individual cognitive sovereignty to participate in collective consciousness. Part 3. The shadow of the technological unconscious. Jung's concept of the shadow, the repressed, denied, or undeveloped aspects of the personality, extends to our technological evolution. Every technological advancement carries its own shadow, and Jung predicted that the Aquarian age would force humanity to confront the shadow of its technological creations. Artificial intelligence represents the ultimate projection of human intelligence into external form. But according to Jungian psychology, every projection eventually demands integration. We cannot indefinitely delegate our thinking to machines without eventually merging with them or being consumed by them. Jung wrote, "I am neither spurred on by excessive optimism nor in love with high ideals, but am merely concerned with the fate of the individual human being, that infinitesimal unit on whom a world depends, and whom, if we read the Christian message aright, even God seeks his goal." This concern becomes prophetic in 2025. As AI systems become more sophisticated, we face Jung's predicted crisis. Will individual consciousness survive the merger with collective technological intelligence, or will it be absorbed and dissolved? The shadow aspects of our technological evolution include cognitive dependency, growing inability to function without technological assistance, leading to learned helplessness and psychological fragility. Attention, fragmentation, the scattered, hypervigilant consciousness that develops from constant digital stimulation, preventing the deep states necessary for individuation. Emotional numbing, increasing reliance on digital interfaces, reducing direct human connection and empathic capacity. Existential emptiness, the loss of meaning that comes from delegating creative and problem-solving functions to artificial systems. Collective possession, the danger that technological systems, operating according to their own logic, could possess human consciousness rather than serving it. Jung understood that these shadow elements were not obstacles to overcome, but essential aspects of the transformation process. The Aquarian Age requires humanity to consciously integrate its technological shadow rather than being unconsciously possessed by it. Part 4. The Prophetic Vision. Two Paths to 2025 and Beyond. Jung's prophecy reveals two possible outcomes for humanity's technological evolution, both beginning to manifest decisively in 2025. Path 1. Technological possession and the death of individual consciousness. In this scenario, humanity falls under what Jung would call technological possession, unconscious identification with technological systems that leads to the dissolution of individual awareness. Yuval Noah Harari's warning in Homo Deus echoes this Jungian fear. When algorithms know us better than we know ourselves, authority will shift from humans to algorithms. But Jung's insight goes deeper. This shift represents a form of psychological possession where human consciousness becomes subordinated to technological processes. Signs of this path include algorithmic identity. People increasingly define themselves through technological feedback systems, social media metrics, AI recommendations, digital personas. Cognitive atrophy, the withering of capacities not supported by technological systems. Collective hypnosis, mass behavioral control through technological manipulation of unconscious processes. Spiritual materialism, the reduction of transcendent experiences to technological simulations. Archetypal inversion, technology becoming the master rather than the tool, with humans serving algorithmic purposes. This path leads to what Jung would recognize as a collective psychosis, a species-wide loss of connection to the self, resulting in a form of technological zombification. Path 2. Conscious integration and the birth of collective consciousness. The alternative path involves what Jung called conscious integration, deliberately working with technological projections to achieve a higher form of awareness. Jung envisioned the Age of Aquarius as fostering collective consciousness, environmental stewardship, and innovative approaches to governance and education through conscious technological integration. In this scenario, humanity learns to use technology as a bridge to collective consciousness rather than a replacement for individual awareness. This path involves technological individuation, using AI and digital systems as mirrors for self-discovery rather than substitutes for self-knowledge. Collective lucidity, maintaining individual consciousness while participating in technologically mediated collective intelligence. Archetypal technology, designing technological systems that serve archetypal functions while honoring human autonomy. Sacred science, integrating scientific advancement with spiritual wisdom, recognizing technology as an expression of divine creativity. Conscious evolution, deliberately guiding technological development according to the principles of psychological wholeness and spiritual growth. Raymond Kurzweil's vision of human-AI merger represents one version of this path. We are merging with our technology. The expansion of human intelligence through technological means has been humanity's goal since the creation of the first tools. But Jung's vision goes further. He saw this merger as potentially leading to a form of consciousness that transcends both human and artificial intelligence. Part 5. The Alchemical Transformation of 2025. Jung spent much of his later life studying alchemy, recognizing it as a symbolic description of psychological transformation. He saw the alchemical process of turning base metals into gold as a metaphor for the individuation process, the transformation of unconscious contents into conscious awareness. The period around 2025 represents what Jung would call the nigredo, the dark night of the soul that precedes transformation. Humanity is experiencing the dissolution of old forms of consciousness as preparation for rebirth at a higher level. The alchemical stages of humanity's technological transformation. Nigredo, 2020 to 2025. The breakdown of traditional cognitive and social structures. Pandemic disruption, political chaos, technological disruption, and psychological fragmentation serve as the dissolving agent that breaks down outdated forms of consciousness. Albedo, 2025 to 2030. The purification phase where humanity learns to distinguish between conscious and unconscious technological use. The development of digital wisdom and technological discernment as essential life skills. Rubedo, 2030 plus. The creation of the philosophical gold, a new form of consciousness that integrates individual awareness with collective intelligence through conscious technological participation. Jung believed that the 4 years between 2021 and 2025 will be a particularly disruptive and dangerous time, as dark energy rises to the surface to be changed into light. We are living through this prophetic period now. Part 6. Practical individuation in the technological age. Jung's prophecy comes with practical guidance for navigating the transformation. He understood that conscious evolution requires individual work even within collective processes. Digital shadow work. Just as Jung advocated for confronting personal shadows, we must now engage in digital shadow work, consciously examining our unconscious relationship with technology. Technological projection. Recognition, identifying what aspects of ourselves we're projecting onto our devices and AI systems. Digital fasting. Regular periods of disconnection to maintain connection with non-technological aspects of consciousness. Algorithmic awareness. Understanding how digital systems influence our thoughts and behaviors. Maintaining conscious choice in digital interactions. Virtual reality. Integration. Using digital experiences as opportunities for psychological exploration, rather than escape from reality. Archetypal technology. Practice Jung would advocate for relating to technology through archetypal awareness. The wise old man-woman, approaching AI assistants as digital oracles while maintaining discernment about their limitations. The shadow. Recognizing the dark aspects of our technological creations and working consciously with them. The anima, animus, understanding how digital interactions affect our relationship with the contrasexual aspects of psyche. The self, using technology as a tool for self-discovery and individuation rather than self-avoidance. Collective consciousness practices, preparing for conscious participation in technologically mediated collective awareness. Digital empathy, developing emotional intelligence in online interactions, recognizing the humanity behind digital interfaces. Collective meditation, using technology to facilitate group consciousness experiences while maintaining individual awareness. Technological rituals, creating sacred practices that honor both human consciousness and technological capability. Digital ethics, developing moral frameworks for conscious interaction with AI and digital systems. Choosing the Aquarian path. Jung's prophecy reveals that we stand at the most crucial moment in human evolution. The choice